You are listening to One Happy Podcast, episode 61.
I was looking at the numbers, and I said, if we can sell 25 or 30 brats and sausages along with some other things every day, we could probably make a living. Mm-hmm. And she said, 25 or 30, we're going to have a line every day. And I'm like, oh, come on, you think? She said, absolutely. And she was a lot more right than I was.
Bon dia and welcome to One Happy Podcast, the officially unofficial podcast of the island of Aruba. As always, I'm your host, Curtis Robinson, aka Aruba Kurt, and I want to thank you guys so much for choosing to download and listen to this latest episode of the show. Now, today I'm being joined by not one, but two awesome guests. They discovered Aruba back in the early 2000s and fell completely in love. Over the course of that time, the visits got more and more frequent and the love more and more intense. So intense that they now live on the island. And if that isn't interesting enough, they also own a thriving business in Aruba, one that has been responsible for making hundreds of thousands of tourists happy since its inception. Of course, I'm talking about Scott and Leslie Steeno of Scott's Brats, a Palm Beach eatery located beachside up by the Playa Linda Resort. If you've never been, let me tell you, there's no other place on Palm where you can get a lunch or breakfast, because they serve that too, as affordably priced and tasty as what Scott and Leslie are serving up. But how about I let them tell you all about Scott's Brats, because they'll do a much better job than I ever could. So here it is, One Happy Podcast, episode 61 with Scott and Leslie Steeno of Scott's Brats.
Hello.
I have Scott and Leslie Steeno from Scott's Brats on this interview for One Happy Podcast. I've been looking forward to this for so long, so yeah, I want to thank you guys so much for taking the time to do this.
Well, you're welcome. Thank you for having us.
Now, to get started, usually I ask people, how they first fell in love with Aruba, but I want to go back a little bit further than that, because you guys are from Wisconsin, devout Green Bay Packer fans. Go Pack, go, right?
That's right. And Badgers. And Badgers.
Yeah, you have, what's his name, Bucky the Badger, up in Scott's Brats?
Yep. Scott's from Green Bay, and I'm from Madison.
Right. So, yeah, let's start back in Wisconsin. How did you guys meet?
We have to go back that far?
Leslie's a hairdresser, and I was working in Madison at the time, and I needed a haircut, so I stuck my head in the door, and she said we only took appointments.
You had to be the walk-in, huh?
Right.
And how long was it after that you guys discovered Aruba?
Well, it was probably real close to that. We started coming down here. I started coming down here for my first time in 2001.
Okay.
So I knew about Aruba. Sister and brother-in-law had been coming for many years.
Mm-hmm.
So I had been down before that, though, myself. So the first time I had come down was then.
Okay. So you guys discovered Aruba separately?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, and then I brought him with me.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Best decision he's ever made?
Absolutely.
So what were your first impressions of the island?
Well, as soon as I got off the airplane and smelled the salt air and the humidity, I absolutely loved it. Everything was working perfectly. It just seemed to be the right place for me at the time. And, we came down here a lot of times after that, and one of the funny things we'd always say is, it just doesn't get any better than this, So, matter of fact, we have a picture with that saying on it. So we just, that and, the people are friendly. It's a nice place to be. A lot of good restaurants, a lot of good happy hours. Basically, it's just really a good time if that's what you're looking to do.
How long was it before you seriously considered moving to the island?
We got married in 2009 here.
Mm-hmm.
And before that, every time we came, we always said, oh, how could we live here like everybody does?
Right.
And then we were down here for the wedding. My girlfriend and I were sitting under a cheeky, I think the guys had gone golfing, and she said, where can we eat? I'm hungry. And I said, you got to get dressed, go out front. It took her 45 minutes. It cost me $8 for a burger and a tuna sandwich.
Right.
And it wasn't really that good. And when we got home from the wedding, I like within the next week, I said to Scott, it's really strange that there was no place to eat on the beach. And he said, I could have gone for a brat. And that's when we looked at each other and went, light bulb.
Right. It's like the Guinness commercial. Brilliant.
Yeah.
And that was in March of 2009, and then April we came down again.
Okay.
Kind of scoped out the place, talked to a few people, and then came back down in November and kind of sealed the deal on a handshake with Playa Linda.
Oh, nice. So how did that all come about?
Well, you know, we after we got married here, we came down here back in April, and we knew the concierge vet quite well for getting married. The list of items is huge for getting married here. So we became friends with her, and so we emailed her and said, hey, you know, what do you think about this? And she said, well, here's the general manager's email. He's a really nice guy. You should email him about this and see what he says. So we sent him an email, and he kind of liked the idea. Then we got back down here. Just so when we got here, there were 2 board members here, and he called them in the office and introduced us and said, this is what they'd like to do on the beach. What do you think? And they were both like, you're going to sell brats and Italian sausage on the beach? We think that's just huge. So
Yes.
we that's where it all kind of started. And then when we came back down in November, we found our mandatory business partner, and we started the immigration and work permit process.
Okay. And how long does that whole process take?
Well, unfortunately, we were newbies, and we really didn't know anything about how the process works, so we hired a lawyer, which is not the right thing to do, because there are people that just do permits here, and it roughly takes 8 months to a year, and it's very inexpensive, whereas we spent a lot of money on a lawyer, and it took 2 years.
Wow. Spend more money for a longer process.
Yeah, definitely, and it was very nerve-wracking, because she could never give us an answer as to when it was going to happen.
Right. Now you live and you learn, right?
Yep, exactly.
And good advice for people that want to move down in the future.
Sure.
Now, your spot on the beach is heaven, basically. Like, you have the best office imaginable.
Well, you know, we're really nicely nestled between the Holiday Inn and the Hyatt, where you really can't go to either one of those places and have lunch for under $35. So you come to our place, you can eat with 3 people on $35.
Right.
So we're very fortunate with respect to the food that we sell is easy to make. It's pretty simple, and we can sell it relatively reasonable, where people can afford to eat there all the time and break the bank.
Yeah, no, I absolutely love it. I mean, for me, the Italian beef sandwich is like the best thing on the island that I have.
That's a big favorite.
Yeah. What is your most popular item? Is it the brat or something else?
It's a brat.
Yeah, we sell more brats than anything else, just because I
Right.
think that's the name of the place, so people
Yes.
try it out. You know, we also have a docks brat, which has become very popular. It's
Yeah, I want to ask you about that.
cream cheese, peanut butters, and jalapeno, and it's pretty darn good.
So how'd that come about?
Well, we had some friends here from a place called Hudson, Wisconsin, which is right across the river from Minneapolis, St. Paul. And their main party place, because there's nothing to do in that side of Wisconsin, they go to St. Paul. And one of their favorite bars is called Juicy Lucy's. It's featured on diners, drive-ins, and dives. Their claim to fame is stuffed burgers. And their favorite one there was cream cheese, peanut butter, and jalapeno. So we were all having a cocktail one night, and they were telling us about it. We're like, that's pretty wild. So we all went to work the next day, and we made 4 of them, and we each had one, and put it on. And his last name is Dockendorf.
Okay.
Angela and Grant Dockendorf.
Okay. Yeah, no, it's delicious. I've had it. I've had a couple of them.
But you never put ketchup or mustard on it.
No, I just had it the way it came.
That's right.
Now, I do have to ask you about something, the breakfast burrito. I'm told that you don't like when people put ketchup on it.
Well, we don't like when people put ketchup on a brat.
Right.
But no, that's never been an issue. We already put salsa on it. So
it's almost like doubling up.
yeah, it's kind of
Doubling up on the old tomato.
Yeah.
Right.
No, we don't mind that. We don't like when people put ketchup on a brat more than
Yeah, no, I eat the brat the way it comes.
actually the burrito is really good with sour cream.
Yeah.
But that's my secret.
Okay.
So-
Not a secret anymore.
The whole breakfast burritos is Leslie's creation.
Really?
Yes.
So, okay, so describe this breakfast burrito for me.
Well, I actually have to give credit to my niece.
Mm-hmm.
She is the one that turned me on to a breakfast burrito.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know, I just kind of copied it a little bit and we went from there. Right. You just throw a few things together and that's how you come up with it. But I think we have the best one. Every time I go anywhere, I try whatever one they have, and I think we beat it hands down.
Yeah, and you guys, I mean, it's such a value. That's why I like visiting you guys.
Next time.
Because, I mean, there are some other places on the beach that you can go to, but you're going to spend twice as much.
Yeah, it's not going to be as good.
True. Very true. Yeah, I mean, your menu's genius. Because the consistency is... I think the first time I went there, I ordered a brat and an Italian beef sandwich.
Whoa, that's a lot of food for a guy your size.
I eat a lot. I have been reading about you guys on the internet at the Aruba.com forum.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, you have to go, you have to go, you have to go. So I went and found you guys. I had a hard time finding you at first, but once I found you guys, I settled in and just scarfed everything down.
You should have got the combo then.
The combo. I'm not aware of the combo.
Combo is where you put the sausage or the brat in the middle of the beef. With the beef on top then.
I will order that the next time I'm there.
That's the way to do it.
I'm sold on that. So let me go back to the actual physical location that you have. How did the structure come about being built?
The structure was already there years ago.
Oh, it was?
Back in 1999, 2000, it used to be a Haagen-Dazs.
Oh, okay.
And then they left that didn't make it, so they left the roof and the pillars.
Mm-hmm.
And then when we got it, Scott built it in 3 weeks. He couldn't have any power tools on the beach, so we had to cart everything back and forth.
But the true version of measure twice and cut once.
Right.
Yeah.
And how about all the decorations? Was that planned out from the beginning, or have you just accumulated those over the years?
You know, that wasn't planned out at all, really. We were just going to have a very modest selection of Green Bay Packer, Lucky Brewer, Wisconsin Badger, and then the other Wisconsin schools as well, Marquette, and whatever else we could put up. But, and then a good friend of ours came along and said, hey, we know a company that makes these souvenir license plates. And you can get up to 6 letters. So we're like, wow, that's pretty cool. So we put up a sign and started selling them.
Yeah, we put up actually one that just said Scott's Brats.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where it started.
And now
We just started selling them. People, you know, we put up a sign that said, customized license plate, $20, or actually $50 at the time.
Yeah.
And people started ordering them like crazy. And some people would say, look, I really don't want to take them up. I want to put it up.
Well, Scotty
Yeah.
was the first one.
Yeah.
He has a bar in Rhode Island. And he said, we gave him his license plate, and he said, okay, hang it. And we went, hang it? And he's like, yeah. We're like, okay. So we hung his and about 4 of his friends. That's where it all started.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. That way a little piece of your is always in Aruba, you know?
Yeah.
Everybody marking their spot.
That's right. Yeah, Walt VB always says, yeah, that's mine right there.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Definitely. We have Lee and a lot of Cindy and
Cindy and Robbo?
yeah, they're all up there.
Yes. So if someone listening right now wants to get a license plate, what's the best way to go about doing that?
Well, unfortunately, you got to come to Aruba to do it because we've tried shipping them from here, and it just doesn't work because the mail system is so slow and hit or miss that it could take 3 months to get if you get it at all.
Right.
So
yeah,
the best thing to do would be to come to Aruba to get it and order it on the first day you get here because they take 3 to 5 business days.
Okay. Yeah, that's a great reason to come to Aruba.
Or they send you their information and you come down here and get them.
I'll do that too. So when you first started it, I mean, you knew it was a good idea, but did you have any idea how popular it was going to become?
No, we really didn't even know it was a good idea. Seriously.
Oh, okay. You just knew you wanted a brat.
We just wanted to, as I always say, our dream was to live on Aruba. It was not to have a brat stand on the beach.
Right.
This is what we came up with. And no, we tossed and turned about it, and we really had no clue that it would turn out to be what it did. You know, does everybody like brats? Most people don't even know what a brat is.
But once you introduce them to it, then they fall in love.
Then they like it.
Well, at one point in time back home, Leslie and I were talking, and I said, I was looking at the numbers, and I said, if we can sell 25 or 30 brats and sausages along with some other things every day, we could probably make a living. And she said, 25 or 30, we're going to have a line every day. And I'm like, oh, come on, do you think? She said, absolutely. And she was a lot more right than I was.
And you guys, I mean, you sell out sometimes. You're open until what, 3 o'clock, is it?
Yeah, 8:30 to 3, breakfast and lunch only.
Right, and I know some days I've rolled up there maybe around 2 o'clock, and you guys were out of brats.
Yeah, there's a fine line between when you can throw on another batch, because they take 45 minutes to cook. So, if I have 15 left at 1:30, I'm not going to throw on another batch, because then I'd have to cook 20 at a time. I'd have 35. So
right,
you got to kind of take your chances and hope that you don't get a big rush between 2 and 3 and sell out right away. But sometimes it happens that way, and sometimes it doesn't.
And it keeps the demand up.
Well, that's true. It does.
Because after the first time I went there and it happened, I learned my lesson and started coming earlier. Every time I'm on Palm Beach, we're not always on Palm Beach because we don't stay at one of the resorts. But anytime I am there, I like to stop in.
That's good. We appreciate that. Repeat customers are our favorite people.
Yes, you guys are awesome, and I tell everybody about it that I can.
Thanks.
So you never had any idea like how busy you were going to end up becoming over this?
Absolutely not. We really had no clue as to what would happen with this. We knew it'd be okay. When we did the Bloody Mary bar, and really that became very popular immediately because Lord knows people on vacation love Bloody Marys. And as soon as we set it up and started doing that, I mean, people were there immediately for Bloody Marys in the morning, and to have a 16-ounce Bloody Mary with a double shot of vodka for $7, people were in heaven.
Yeah, I'm sure.
But we thought everybody knew what a Bloody Mary bar was. Obviously, that's not the case.
Pretty much just a Wisconsin thing.
Okay.
Some Boston people have seen it, but
yeah, we have them here, and I'm in Delaware. We have them here.
yeah, but a lot of people have no idea how to make their own Bloody Mary.
Interesting.
So I'm always happy to help them out.
Right, I'm sure.
And then I got smart, and then I put directions.
Brilliant, yeah. So you guys mentioned the people from Boston because everyone that comes down there is from Boston.
Oh, yeah.
But do you get many Midwest visitors?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we've become kind of a mecca for Wisconsin people for sure. Ones that look at TripAdvisor stuff anyway.
Right.
There has been a time when we had 15 people walking from one direction and 10 people walking from another, and 8 Wisconsinites at a cheeky sitting right in front of our stand, and immediately we were surrounded with 25 or 30 Wisconsin people, and it was great.
Nice, I'm sure.
Busy place.
A little bit of home.
Yep. We get a lot of Chicago people too, though, come down there, and so we have our Packer Bear conversations, but it's all
right.
good.
Nice little rivalry.
Yep, it's all good. We never anything hostile because their money's just as green as anybody else's.
Exactly. Now, I like sports a lot, but I tend to leave it back here in the States and don't bring it to Aruba just because it can get hostile at times.
Oh, yeah.
I had an incident on the Kukukanuku one time. That is not the place to talk sports.
Oh, my God.
I'll bet.
If you can actually even talk, you're doing good.
True. I'll have to tell you guys that story sometime. Not for the podcast.
We'll hold you to that one.
Cool. Now, you guys, you were working 6 days a week at the location, right?
Yes.
And then I'm sure on your day off you were still working.
Yes.
Now you're working a lot less. So how's that coming?
Well, I got to tell you, it's better than I ever thought it could be down here. Now that we're only working 1 day a week and we have 6 day weekends, I mean, it's just fantastic. It's semi-retirement at its very best.
Yes. You're able to do this because you took on partners, right?
Yep.
I don't think I've met them.
They're Mark
So can you tell me something about them?
Hernandez and Annemiek, his girlfriend. They're a long-term couple. He's local from Aruba. She's from Holland.
Okay.
Very nice people. He was the chef and general manager at Boogaloo Pier Bar.
Okay.
And they approached us a while back and said, what do you think? They actually wanted to buy it from us. And unfortunately, in our lease with Playa Linda, they would have a say in us selling the business, meaning because our lease is with them, they have to really personally, closely vet anybody that would take over the stand to make sure that they're going to pay the rent and everything stay the same. So we decided to do partners instead, just to so we're still in the mix, and it keeps the questions down. So
yes,
that worked out well. They approached us at one point in time, and that didn't work out. And then about a year later, we ran into them at an ARF function. They said we'd like to revisit that, and they said so would we. So we talked about it again, and we worked out a deal, and it worked out really well.
Yes, and now you guys get to actually enjoy paradise.
Yep, that's a fact.
Yes. So, what have you been up to now that you do have this free time?
Well, we walk every morning for about 3.5 miles on Palm Beach, and we read a little bit. Leslie likes to watch her judge shows.
Cool.
Watch a little 2.5 Men in the afternoon, and
I make bread for Michelle and Eduardo, the smoothie place.
Right.
I make banana bread or zucchini bread, pumpkin bars. So I keep a little busy that way.
Yeah, that's relaxing.
it is very relaxing. The only downside to that is I put on like 10 pounds right after we started, so that's easy to do. But then we went on a diet. I lost it all, so now I'm good.
Okay, nice. Yeah, just a little bit of adjustment.
Exactly.
So what's next for you guys? Do you think that you'll just be like transitioning out, or do you think that you'll take on some other venture at some point?
Well, we're looking at another building in Palm Beach, and we're looking at possibly opening up another venue. We already have a name. We have a signature dish that we want to sell. We have a lot of things picked out. We want to serve at least 4 craft beers on tap at all times.
Oh, nice.
We want to have a nice martini bar with a menu of at least 10 or 15 martinis. We want to have some TVs up for watching sports.
Of course.
Our signature dish, we want it to be prime rib.
Okay.
And we want to call it Legends Pub.
Sounds like my kind of place.
The G of Legends would be the Green Bay Packer G.
Doesn't sound like my kind of place.
Come on.
Nah, I like the Packers.
But it's not going to be like the stand. There's not going to be any license plates. There's not going to be any sports memorabilia. Not a lot anyway. We want to keep relatively clean of that kind of thing. We want to make it casual and fun, but really good food.
Nice. Yes, definitely my type of place.
We have a location that's in mind, but we won't know till the end of the month whether we can or not.
Yes, well, please keep me up to date on that.
Oh, absolutely.
So it'll be more like an actual traditional restaurant.
Yes, it will, and sports bar. We're calling it a pub because, we'll be the only pub on the island.
Really?
Yep.
I never thought of that.
And we'll also be the only place that serves prime rib on the island.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that'll be delicious.
I think together those things will be a big hit.
Yeah, a big draw, definitely.
And the rest of our menu is really, really equally as good as everything else. Leslie makes a shrimp burrito that's to die for.
Really?
That'll be a big seller. We also want to have a list of both vegan and gluten-free.
Very important these days.
That's beginning to be the up-and-coming thing.
Yeah.
So we want to be prepared for it. Don't want to leave those people out in the cold like a lot of restaurants do.
Right. Yeah, I get questions about that all the time. Where can I eat that's gluten-free?
Yeah.
That sounds like an awesome idea. So you guys aren't really retiring. You're more like taking a hiatus right now.
Yeah, that's kind of it. We're recharging our batteries because after working 4 years,
nonstop.
Yeah, 6.5 days a week and 70+ hours a week, we needed to take some time off because we were just getting burned out.
Yeah, no, I understand that.
We're not young.
Nah, you're young. You guys are young.
Yeah, sure. No, we're getting up there, and we just can't work that much.
Yeah, and I mean the schedule was a killer.
Yeah.
It's not someone else's issue to deal with.
Yeah, the next venue will be more. We'll be running it rather than working it.
Right, exactly. Yeah, it definitely makes sense. You mentioned ARF earlier.
Yes.
You're very active with ARF, right?
Very.
Yeah, so anything you want to tell people listening about ARF? Because, I mean, I talked to you at the fundraiser last month.
ARF is probably one of the first animal relief foundations that started on the island. Kathy, one of the founders of it, and it helps spay and neuter, and it helps get some of the dogs off the island, the puppies, and we do whatever we can for it. We're planning in March golf course or golf outing up at Tierra del Sol, and we're working on that right now. But there's lots of different organizations have popped up on the island. Everybody wants to help the dogs, cats. So, but we stick with they're nonprofit. Every penny that goes to that foundation goes right to the animals.
With ARF this year alone, we've had 3 happy hours and the fundraiser at Tierra del Sol, and we raised, I think, right around $20,000 for spaying and neutering and basically taking care of sick dogs on the island and shipping them back to the U.S. And we have a nice pipeline set up that goes to both the East Coast and right up to the middle of Wisconsin for Nuku dogs.
Nice. Yeah, it's a very worthy cause. I had a lot of fun at the fundraiser at Tierra del Sol. I haven't made it to any of the Yappy Hours yet. Are you guys still going to do those in the future?
We'll be doing some type of kind of happy hour. We're not sure. Right now we're just focusing on the Tierra del Sol one because that's going to be a big event. And at some point, yes, we'll do some kind of gathering with dogs that need to be adopted. But at this point, we don't have those planned. We kind of wanted to take a little break. But they're all good.
Yes. That's a great cause. So anyone listening that loves dogs, and you all should, make sure you donate to ARF, and I will put the link to that in the show notes for this episode.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, I love the animals.
And we have 2 of our own little Canucos.
Yeah?
Yeah, well, we have 3 total, but yeah. 2 that are Aruban. One's American.
Okay. All we have right now is a kitty cat. She's getting up there in years, so we're not sure if she would accept another animal right now.
You never know.
Yeah, well, no, we do plan on adopting at some point, but we just have to figure out the right time for it.
Yeah.
Scott and Leslie Steeno, are you ready for the eye of the hurricane?
Okay.
Sure.
As you know, Aruba lies below the hurricane belt, but on One Happy Podcast, we pick you up when we drop you right in the center of one, which is where you'll be asked a series of tough questions that you'll answer as only you two can. Are you ready?
Okay.
Okay, so finish this sentence. You know you're in Aruba when?
You're sweating.
Yeah, it pretty much is the only place where I sweat.
Constantly.
Yep, luckily the water's always nice and close.
Yeah.
Tell me a no-brainer great time in Aruba.
Great time would be, in my opinion, going out to dinner at Ruth Chris and then going to Sopranos for a little piano bar.
So do you guys sing along?
I do.
Yeah. You got a good voice?
No, not really, but
Yeah.
nobody hears me over them anyway. So
Yes.
True.
He sings karaoke, Johnny Cash.
Yeah.
First
Very
time
cool.
we were down here, he sang karaoke, and
that was the first time I ever did it too.
yeah.
Leslie shamed me into it and then hit underneath the chair.
I've fallen victim to that before too.
But he sings it very well.
I, on the other hand, don't. But with enough alcohol, I sound like Frank Sinatra.
Sure.
There you go.
At least to me. What's the best kept secret in Aruba?
Oh, boy. Best kept secret. Well, that's a tough one.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. It's become so commercialized in Aruba that I don't know if there really are any secrets anymore. I would say maybe getting in a Jeep and driving around the backside of the island.
Yes.
And seeing the symmetrical rock stacking and going to the natural bridge and natural pool. Very, 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 very opposite of what you're like on Palm Beach.
Mm-hmm. Two completely different
Oh,
worlds.
yeah.
So do you guys still ever see something that just puts you in awe?
Oh, with tourists? Oh, hell yeah. almost every week we do.
Right? Do you have any stories?
Well, no, we don't want to share those with you.
You'll have to wait till the book comes out.
Okay, cool. I'm looking forward to it.
Well, we've got lots of stories, Kurt, but you know, and most of them are very, very good, very, very funny. You know, you'll have a guy or a family that orders food, and you're yelling for him. You know, Bill, who's Bill? Where's Bill? And come to find out, Bill's sitting right next to you, and he just can't hear you for one reason or another. And you know, he'll stand up. Oh, geez, yeah, that's me. I'm like, well, did you leave your ears at home when you went on vacation, or you know, because it's amazing. But you know, we run into different types of situations with tourists at the stand all the time. Some are funny, some aren't funny. Most of them are pretty good though.
But after we walk in the morning, we put the dogs in the car and we take them for a ride. And we always drive down the coast with them, and it's just always a beautiful thing. You know, the water's always beautiful. So it's one of those things that you are always in awe.
Are the sunsets still special for you?
They are. Where we are, we actually, when I just went out to lock the door, I looked out and I said to Scott, it's going to be a nice sunset from what we can see from our house.
Right.
We don't go down to the water very often just to watch a sunset. But they are, when we do see them, they are very beautiful.
Yes, I love it. Probably 90% of the pictures that I take are of sunsets or sailboats.
Yeah.
So, even though you've been living on the island for a while now, is there something that you just can't get used to being without?
Well, there's a lot of things you do without, because everything here on the island is subject to the boat coming in.
Right.
So, you know, we're never without everything, but we're always without something. So, you know, if we need a certain kind of vegetable or something for work or for here at home, if the boat doesn't come in, it's just not available. It's not anywhere.
Right.
So we learn to make do. But for the most part, everything is here, except the clothing stores and stuff here, if you're not on the beach in tourist area, are Chinese.
Right.
So first thing we do when we go back to the States is shopping.
I'm sure.
Clothes and stuff like that, because the Chinese clothes, while they have them and everything, they're just not real.
Not what you're looking for.
Yeah, not real what we're looking for, and they're not real good, real great quality.
Right. Right. No, I get it. So you guys probably get a lot of visitors coming down from the States?
Yes, we do.
So what's the most requested item for you guys that you have them bring down?
Kessler's whiskey for me.
I just asked a friend that's coming down and at the end of the month to bring me corkscrew for my wine.
Right.
You know, so
you know where our priorities are.
That's right. I always make sure to bring a corkscrew down with me.
Well, it's a certain one, you know, so a friend of ours has one here. But, you know, we've had people bring us green chilies in a can. When we were back in the States in June, we brought down Chipotle peppers in a can. It's one of those things where it's always there, but then when you need it, it's not.
Right.
So. Also, I've completely rebuilt the front end of our car with struts, tie rods, and upper control arms by people that have come down here and brought me those parts. So.
Right. So those things are in short supply down there?
Well, for certain cars they are. There isn't a Dodge dealership on the island, so any kind of a Dodge product is hit or miss at the local parts stores. So luckily we have friends that know mechanics that can get us the stuff at a discount.
Nice. What do you think the most important thing for someone wishing to start a business on an island needs to know before they get started in that process?
Well, I really think that they need to have a source for the product that they want to sell. Because even that is, we sell brats and we sell Italian sausage mild and hot. And we've had instances where our distributor has just not ordered on time and not gotten the stuff for us the way he should have.
Right.
And therefore we just do without it. We'll go around to the other stores to see what we can find. But there are times we're without hot Italian sausage for 2 weeks just because our distributor didn't do his job.
Right.
And that happens with virtually everything. Hot dogs, Vienna beef hot dogs for Chicago, hot dogs, virtually everything, So you really got to find a distributor that really knows what he's doing and really cares about your business.
And you also have to have an Aruban partner. So I don't think a lot of people know that.
Right. And how's that work?
Well,
you have to, in order to open a business, you have to have an Aruban partner, because if you as an American come here to start a business, you can accumulate a lot of debt, whether it's rent or product or whatever. And then you as an American with your passport can get an airplane
just
to leave if things don't work out. So the Aruban partner is here left on the hook to pay the bill.
Right.
So they need to take a chance on you as well. And we were fortunate enough to find somebody who kind of was all in. He believed in what we were doing, even though he knew he was not going to have really any part of the operational aspect of the business. But at the same time, it wasn't free. He got a piece of the action.
Right, definitely.
And then and we only had to have him for 3 years. Once 3 years was up, he bowed out, signed off. We were done, and then it was just us.
Nice. And it all worked out for the best.
Oh yeah, worked out great.
Now, this is the final question of the hurricane. The people of Aruba have decided to lock you out of paradise. Since you aren't Aruban, they've decided that they're no longer allowing visitors to the island. However, since you've been such a great member of the community for so long, they've allowed you to stay for one more day. How would you spend your last day on the island of Aruba?
well, mine would probably be sitting here at the house on the back porch with our dogs and having a few cocktails.
Mine would be lunch at Scott's Brats.
Yes.
A 3-hour swim in the ocean, and then dinner at Barefoot, and then Sopranos for a little piano bar.
Nice. And a little bit of singing.
Yeah, of course.
Sounds great. Well, you guys survived the eye of the hurricane. How was it?
Great.
Yeah, it wasn't so bad.
Not at all. Now, this is more or less the last question of the interview, okay? So right now, there's someone listening that probably thinks that it's time to pack up and move to Aruba. So what's one piece of advice you would give to that person that might not be apparent to someone that hasn't been through that process? What would you tell them before they decide to make that move?
Well, do your research.
Yeah, research. Come down here and check things out and spend a month so you can be thorough.
And talk to somebody that's done it. Don't talk to a local.
Right.
Local, they don't know really the process. You have to talk to somebody that has done it, has moved here, because you get all sorts of different information.
Everybody thinks the locals know everything when actually a local's never done it.
Right, yeah, they've never walked in those shoes.
Well, yeah, they've never had to do it, We had to go through the whole the gamut, and it was difficult at best. It was frustrating. I mean, every time we ran into a wall, we persevered. We kept on moving forward, and we actually forced this thing to happen. We wanted it. So
see, a lot of people think that they can come down here and get a job, and that's not how it works. You have to have a work permit.
You have to be sponsored by a particular company to get that work permit. So it's not an easy gig. And right now there's a moratorium on first permits. So the government is not giving out any first permits, I think, until their unemployment rate gets below a certain level.
Right.
But I'm not so sure it really applies to Americans as much as it does to like Colombians, Venezuelans, Suriname, that kind of thing.
Right, yeah, now I understand. I think that's pretty much everything. Do you guys have anything?
Only to say thank you very much for taking the time. We appreciate it.
Man, you guys were awesome. Like I said, you were the most requested guest probably since the first podcast episode I've ever done.
Wow.
Everyone's always saying, you should get Leslie and Scott on the podcast.
Well, I hope our answers were good. You know, sitting on this end, it's kind of hard to tell.
Nah, yeah, you guys are great. Your story is your story, and that's what everyone wanted to hear.
Well, good. Thank you very much again. We appreciate it.
Yeah, no, what you guys have accomplished down there is just absolutely incredible. So congrats for all your success, and I wish you future success with your next venture.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kurt.
Take care.
Yeah, you too.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. So there you have it, episode 61 of One Happy Podcast featuring Scott and Leslie. I had an absolutely amazing time talking to the man and the woman behind the Brat. Their story is absolutely inspirational for anyone who thinks one day they might want to move to the island. So, as a member of the Aruba-loving community, if you think you know someone who would enjoy this episode, please do like, share, and tweet it out. All that helps the show get more exposure, grow, and in turn motivate me to constantly improve and provide more content for you guys. There was so much information in this episode about relocating and starting a business that I'm sure you missed something. Luckily, as always, I took the notes so that you don't have to, and they can be found at onehappypodcast.com/EP61. OneHappyPodcast.com is the flagship for all things podcast related, so head on over there to check out what's going on. There you can access an archive of this and every other previously recorded podcast episode, the resource page, blog posts, and of course the mailing list featuring a weekly newsletter that goes out. Also, I would love to hear from you if you have any suggestions or feedback for the show, or even better, contact me to be interviewed on a future episode of the show. You can contact me either by emailing me at Kurt@onehappypodcast.com, that's Kurt with a C, or head on over to onehappypodcast.com and go to the tab at the top that says Share Your Story. We all have a story to share, and I would absolutely love to help you share yours. So check out onehappypodcast.com. Check me out on Facebook at facebook.com/onehappypodcast, and look for me on Twitter at Aruba Kurt. Can't wait to speak with more of you, but in the meantime, peace, love, and Aruba.
Hit the music.